Ebusia for asem kese aba. Yenyina yenim Nyaho Tamakloe odi nkuntiman pa ewo politics mu yenim no se ono de eba nim dia politics mu de obi ene ninjabi obi ene ninkebi na sesi ano menim de koba waka NPP honsem bebre ebusia for metwen na mapene se bobeko mako akoti de course ewo ho ebusia for afi and what you may say so ha Ghana politics avenue so muso fuguru about politics there yen any deba ebe sommo near deba ebe brem obusan for and call political highway so no ensem bebre na yensa akoka ensem ni bi and sense no Tamakloe aba be expose NPP for no big time o chemo bi so omo pen so no omo na ama security na NPP for enya anoka no hopi na 500 slot plan no matam 1000 omatam 1004 no mudi akoguo na ho abopempem na chese se ano omunya baabi emfa bi wo kras kakra yetwa no na chese ayedin all because your omo nipa na omunjai se omo pese omo ten tables against NDC na NDC kraba no enyanya 1 year kra omo first time omo fa military nkofo enti omunjai se omo pese omo hinder all blames no edema NDC na NPP4 na ahyesa abahye bone no ewo military mu abusuafo wakasa bebre mpese meje mombra boso mpese mese mombre dan da se na no na momenko ni nkutie nsem
not white collar jobs. That's not what I'm talking about. Create jobs, farming and other jobs, particularly polytechnic jobs, as we have been told repeatedly. I remember a couple of a year or 2, 3 years before the Fourth Republic, myself, Safo Manfo, and Professor Wayoseni, we represented our tradition. By then, we have not even formed NPP. With other 3 chaps, I think one, Mr. Kuma, he has passed on long ago, an old CPP guard, and about 3 other people. We went to Germany to study their system. And I remember what they kept on saying, that we should never play with our polytechnics because that is what builds a nation. And indeed, when Akufo-Addo was about to, or was competing to be president of this country, he went to Germany and he was told the same thing by the former German Chancellor. Now, if we all want to sit in offices, this is what the result will be. That's what is facing the nation now. So leaders have to be creative. Creative. You cannot have the whole population in the armed forces or security services. It doesn't work that way anyway. And it won't work that way. So it should be a clear sign to the political class that they must create jobs. Not coming to steal money. No, they must create jobs. Because when you have jobs absent in any society, this is exactly what faces you. And it is very, very dangerous.
So I glean from what you're saying that a number of these applicants, I mean, persons who have gotten into the security agencies over the years, you've referred to the Fourth Republic, what we have seen, are not getting in, not necessarily to serve, but that job security as well that these various security agencies gives when you're getting there, is it not?
Yeah, they get into it because they want what we call a guaranteed work. You follow me? And formerly it was the opposite. When the colonial masters were here, they have what they call West African Frontier Force. They use the natives to do the dirty job. And they were the commanders and the officers. Until we had, during the Second World War, the first Ghanaian, first Gold Coaster, I would say, not even a Ghanaian, but then we're not an independent nation, by name Major Seth Anthony. He set a record. And the English respected him. To get to the level of a major at that time meant a lot. Now, after that, we had a Ghana Armed Forces put together. And the British officers have to leave. And Nkrumah did his best by forming the Ghana Armed Forces. I.e., he included the Air Force and the Navy. He created the two. The English left us just with the army. Nkrumah created the two. In both instances, he brought people from the army to come and head the Air Force and the Navy. Admiral Hansen headed the Navy first, and then General Otto headed the Air Force. Now, they did wonderfully well, and there was no confusion whatsoever. What we have in the Fourth Republic now, that have started hunting us, is trying to bring tribal connections into the armed forces. Tribal and political connections. And that is what is happening now. And if we don't stop it, it will cost us greatly. It will cost us greatly. When I was even in the armed forces, I was on a committee that recruited soldiers into the armed forces. That was in 1974. I was a young officer. We visited all the 9 regional capitals in this country. And in each region, first and foremost, we picked the indigents who are really interested in joining the armed forces. I remember clearly. We started from Ho, Greater Accra, from Greater Accra to Cape Coast, from Cape Coast to Secondary Takrade, then all the way to Koforidua, from Koforidua to Kumasi, from Kumasi to Brahafo, from Brahafo went straight to Tamale. By then, there was only one regional capital in the north, Tamale. But we were advised by the authorities to continue to Bolga because there was a large population there. Well, yes, indeed, we went to Bolga and then recruited young people who wanted to join armed forces. And they were really young and interested to soldier, not to come and do politics or had been forced in by political interests. So the trouble we are we have now in the what do you call it? Security services was created in the Fourth Republic. Prior to that, there was no tribal interest whatsoever, neither there was any political interest. So if we want to let this nation run smoothly, those who have been pushing political interest idea will have to stop it, because that will not only destroy this country, but it will totally disintegrate the whole society.
Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe, appreciate you for this, but you kindly stay with me because I also have Professor Enoch Enchi joining us on Zoom as well. He's a governance expert. Professor Enoch Enchi, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I know that you're also doing quite some research in the United States as we speak, but thank you for connecting with us. But if you look at the stages of this AI recruitment process, which has generated divergent views, the stage 1 of it will be the documentation, then they go to body selection, online aptitude test. That's where the issues were raised, and then there's the medicals as well. In fact, one of our viewers who took part in this recruitment process sent us this. This is what the AI recruitment, that is the aptitude test, looks like. Your first stage, online application completed, you qualified. Stage 2, documentation completed. It will show you that you're qualified. Stage 3, body selection completed. It will show you're qualified. Then the stage 4 is where a lot of people fell off. The aptitude test. His says disqualified. Remarks, you failed to score the required pass mark. Better luck next time. And this was for the prison service. It was one of a number of people, thousands of people who couldn't get into the prison service. Prof, where you are, is the reverse, is it not? I mean, that you have the state rather pleading with people to come and serve. But then again, here, you have a lot more people, thousands wanting to get in, you know, mostly for job security, even though the dynamics are different, is it not?
Yes, Alfred, greetings to all your viewers everywhere in the world. It is a very sad situation. In my job, I only talk about what I know. And when my son was in high school, there were a lot of recruiters that went there trying to recruit him into the military. But he always told them that he needed to inform their father. And I told him, no, you're not going to the military. You're not supposed to be in there. So if you flip the coin and you look at the Western nations and how they are really recruiting people into the military, and they literally beg individuals to be in the forces. Now, I had to do the math again. We had 500,000 individuals who applied to be in the forces, and only 5,000 were selected. I had to do the simple math of 5,000 divided by 500,000 multiplied by 100, and it is 1%.
Indeed.
1%. That means only 1% of individuals who want to serve the nation are given opportunity to do that. And I started talking to people. Some individuals said they did the aptitude test. I was a manager with PS and in charge of over 230 state board tests. What I found out was that we also do even FBI aptitude tests. And some individuals who showed me their porters, what they saw was that you failed. They did not give them their grade, what they had, and why they failed. There was no input to that. So I think that we have not been intentional in applying, in creating jobs, as Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe said. We've not been intentional in creating jobs for our students. And it's the reason why I'm saying that is that here in advanced world, right from middle school to senior high school, so 16 years are working at subways, they are working to learn customer service thing. And if 16 years, if your parents are able to buy you a car, your insurance is linked to your grades in school. So if you're having high grades, your insurance is lower. Look at the way they link everything together, and then they report employment rate from every state. So even our regions, every region, Eastern region, Central region, Ashanti region, Greater Accra, we should be reporting employment stage. We have lumped some everything together that the unemployment rate in Ghana is 2.9%. And I don't know where they had the data from. Are we saying that only less than 3% of Ghanaians are unemployed and underemployed, the rest have a job? That is not the reality. And then we also have the protocol issue. Some people in Ghana, it's not even your qualification, it's who knows you and who want to give you that input. I'm still investigating individuals who are saying that they paid up to 50,000 Ghana cedis. Some said 30,000 Ghana cedis to some individuals. It may not be politicians, it may be some Goro boys, some in-between guys who are saying that I can promise you this, give me this money. They paid that money to these individuals and they did not get a job.
You mean to be recruited into the security agencies?
Yes. Some individuals have been taking money from other, unsuspecting these applicants, 50,000, 30,000 bribes. It is not politicians. Let me emphasize that. But individuals who go to these desperate, candidates and say that if you give me 50,000 or 30,000, I know somebody who can get you this job. And they never had the job. They also never had their money back. So the question is, how are we framing our unemployment? And that is where policy comes in. We are framing them as an economic issue, which is wrong. Unemployment should be framed as a moral issue. If people don't have jobs, what is the moral consequence? They will tend to stealing, they will tend to being deviants in the society. So we have to give them job. I would rather find job for people instead of giving them freebies. Because once people have jobs, they can pay taxes, they can take care of their families. But if the person don't have any job, then what can they do? Because the devil even tempts an idle hands. And that is why even the techs, and I heard Dr. Nyaho talking about that, the technical colleges and the community colleges all focuses on this job creation and entrepreneurship. So we need to be doing that to create jobs. Drones, we can learn from the Western world how they do drones. Have you noticed that our people can easily repair a broken phone, any iPhone, any Android phone? Individuals who never went to even school can fix them. Once it is broken, they can fix it easily. Why can't they make the original phone? Why can't they not make the original phone, but they can repair it when it's broken? That is where we should be. Our youth have clever ideas, just that we're not being intentional in making sure that they have the tools to work, to be more creative and generate newness in our system. And that is what we should be looking at, because education has been separated from the world of job, and that is our biggest problem. But education is the supply side of the labor, and then the world of work, employment, is the demand side. Are we training our students who are ready for the job market, or the job market will have to train them differently before they fit into their space? That is what we should be looking at. And I think that the way the Western education is centered, they prepare students ready for the job market. We don't prepare students for the job market. We prepare them with certificates, and when they finish, they start looking for jobs. And most of the jobs do not exist. 1%.
This picture fits into the bigger concern of the unemployment crisis, and you take it from the angle of training. Prof, appreciate your time on this. Thank you. Thank you so much for this comprehensive analysis of the reality check that we're having right now. Professor Enoch Enchi is a public policy analyst, governance expert. He's a lecturer as well. He's in the United States, also in a similar research, trying to understand the dynamics when it comes to employment, unemployment, and amongst young people in the United States. Thank you for joining us here at Ghana tonight. But away from that, to another issue of national concern, but this is an assurance coming from the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, that's coming up next. The NPA is assuring the public of fuel adequacy amid rising tension in the Middle East. And this is a statement that we got from the National Petroleum Authority earlier today. The details of the statement, and let me just remind you, Dr. Patrick Kufori is going to be joining us on Zoom in a bit. He is the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, but this is what the National Petroleum Authority is saying, that they've taken note of recent reports, speculation, and public commentary regarding the potential impact of developments in the global energy market and on fuel supply and pricing in Ghana. He continues that in light of these concerns, the authority wishes to assure the general public that Ghana currently has adequate stocks of petroleum products and the national fuel supply situation remains stable and firmly under control, following a comprehensive review of national petroleum stock levels and supply arrangements, and that's conducted in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy and the Green Transition and key industry stakeholders. Take notice, key industry stakeholders, because we're going to be speaking to one of the key industry stakeholders on this matter. The NPA can confirm that sufficient quantities of petrol, that's PMS, diesel, aviation, turbine kerosene, ATK, and liquefied petroleum gas are available in the country to meet current and projected national demand. So the sufficiency of the quantity is what the NPA is emphasizing. And let me, at this point, bring in the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Dr. Patrick Kufori. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Alfred, and good evening to your viewers and listeners on.
Perfect. Now, this assurance from the NPA and the adequacy of that's the quantities of petrol, diesel, and the LPG, does it reflect what is also in your books?
More than that, and I can also add to the fact that we as a group has confirmed all our cargoes coming into the end of the month. We also know that the local refinery that we also offtake from has cargoes line up coming that they are also going to refine. And the good thing is that Secur currently
1,000 applicants. That's just that's 1% of the total number of applicants were the ones going to be employed. So you had 99% of the applicants essentially being let off or not having any chance to get into these for the security agencies that we talked about, these ones. So what happens to them? That's the question that we're going to be finding out going forward. And then that assurance that the minister gives about how the way forward will look like. But if you trickle down and you interrogate the data a bit further, let's just break it down a bit to the various security agencies and the total number of applicants. For the Ghana Police Service, according to the minister, 130,000 total applicants. And guess what? There were just 3,000 slots available. Just 2.3% of the people who applied. So 130,000 applicants, think about it, and just 3,000 slots. And look, the picture is no different, for instance, for the Ghana Immigration Service, 180,000 applicants, just 1,000 slots were available. So this software that was used for the process of recruitment, how did that also address the matter of protocol lists, you know, that we've seen in the past, and then the politics of things that get into the recruitment process? Because that has also not been disputed, that over time you have political parties promising their following that they'll be recruited into the security agencies. So that is one issue as well, whether this AI application process has addressed that. And you saw the concerns that people raise about that particular process. Less than 1% of this number of applicants into immigration service they got. The same picture with the fire service as well. 124,000 applicants, and guess what? They had just a fraction of them getting into it. It tells you a clear picture of what we are faced with right now and what has to be done. This, for the prison service as well, it doesn't look good. 71,000 applicants wanting to get into the prison service, 500 slots, 500. And what essentially that means is that for every position, one slot, 142 people were trying to get at least just one of it. And the minister says it's all about the fiscals, because there's no money. Because then if you're recruiting them, you have to find a way to pay them. And he talks about over 13 billion wage bill as we speak. But this is a troubling picture. How do we deal with this situation? And here's why I bring in Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe. He's a statesman. He's served in the Ghana Armed Forces and also took part in some recruitment process while he was serving. Togby, I do appreciate your time that you even stayed up to join us here on Ghana Tonight, and the passion that you have for this matter. First off, I mean, how troubling is this picture that we have been told right now by the Interior Minister earlier today about the 500,000 applicants for just 5,000 slots into the various security agencies?
Well, firstly, I think it's a clear sign that we have a huge problem with employment for young people. And this is not the work of one political party. Can't be. And I think where we have the influx or the interest, the interest of a number of young men trying to get into the security services is also of great importance. I think what should be done now is the government should carefully look how to create jobs.
Not necessarily in a state of panic, and then we need to also give the government and other stakeholders, and especially consumers, that there isn't any cause for alarm. For fuel availability, there is enough in country. As I'm even speaking to you, there are about 4 vessels that are already lined up in our waters, ready to be discharged. So that cannot be a negative situation. For fuel security and fuel supply availability is constant. And there is also no fear about access to forests, as we've also had some deliberations, and we know that the government currently has almost 8 months import cover, and with that, it gives us confidence. We've
It will be as a Ghana Politics Avenue. Share, subscribe. like it to the channel no share my own never for business for be so sa to make it with the ADB I had a musu for good about politics hey why and need we ditch why and any ever come obi eri ho because I have no far gone it all be a ojebre heard with the way as nyankopon show be ha and I'm right am kwan say me promote so want some kaibia fashion comment section so anyway political trending news we e kopia yen ya depend say be church mase na de on tiase bia so ya pansa pensem a chere mo intine ye dwuma ko no me do bi ase na me de bu bisia makram